evening. We have a very interesting and thought-provoking evening planned for you. But first, I want to introduce our chairman, Jim Billman. Jim is also a founding father of the Berks County Patriots, and he will lead the evening off in prayer and a pledge to the flag. So please stand if you're able. Thank you. Pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we do ask your blessing on this evening. We pray that everything we do, Father, is in accord with your will, and that you would guide and direct our steps and our thoughts. And Father, we just pray that you would do whatever it is through us to bring this country back to the constitutional republic that we know it can be. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm going to pledge.
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Okay, we are holding elections tonight for new board members. So at this time, I would like to ask the board members who are going to be, or who are on the ballot, not going to be, if you could come up here so I can introduce you. Honor Guard, if you guys can make your way to the back, Oath Keepers Honor Guard, we're going to assemble in the back. Come on up. And no tents on here, but I don't see anybody tall walking this way. Okay. I'm going to hand the microphone to the first person to my left, and she can introduce herself, and so on and so forth.
Good evening. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jamie Kyle. I'm with the Berks County Patriots. I'm currently on the board, and I've been working with the website and the newsletter I create, and I also am with the legislative committee, and I'm up for re-election.
Leon Smith, I'm on the ballot for the first time for Board of Directors.
Hello folks, my name is Sam Baracadora. I'm a current board member. I would appreciate your vote. I would like to keep serving you. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Gil Smith. I'm also on the ballot for the first time. I am a member of the Berks County Patriots, and I feel I've found a home here with a lot of like-minded Patriots, and I want to further the cause.
My name's Eldon Kibler. I'd appreciate your vote. Right now, I'm Unity Chairman. I just called a group of people together with like-minded people. We had 12 different groups show up to see what we can do to work together. I'd like to continue that effort. Thanks.
Ken Crystal, Vice Chair for a couple of years. It feels like. Thank you.
You missed me. I'm Linda Bragador, membership chairman. I think my name is first on the list, so I'll be okay. I know.
Now, we always do something special for the vets, especially in December, but we like to carry that throughout the year. So, I've recently been introduced to Ted and Celeste, and I'm going to ask Celeste to come up here for a minute and talk about their project they've been doing for quite a few years.
Thank you for having me. My better half is back there, Ted Twardowski, and we're dog-faced soldier military. And we were really inspired by Doug and Liz Graybill and how they were doing it. I suppose I have 30 seconds, so I'm going to hurry it up here. Oh, I get a whole minute. Okay, great. Anyway, I used to do entertainment, and my husband is a Vietnam veteran. He was at 1968-69, the Happy Years, pet, and all that. And we wanted to give back, and we found Doug and Liz Graybill veterans making a difference, and we knew we could fit in a special way there. So at the holidays, we like to do a coat drive, and we call it Baby It's Cold Outside, Operation Baby It's Cold Outside, because that was one of my signature songs, a little hoochie coo there, back in the day. And, but on a serious note, it is cold out there. We know it doesn't change all the circumstances of the homeless veterans, but at least, you know, it's cold outside. we can provide a coat or a blanket or a tent. And that's a serious note. And we're so grateful to Doug and Liz Graybill for letting us be their wingman through December. And it concludes in a couple of days at the end of November, and then my house turns into Clark Griswold land. So anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Billman, for having us. We really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you very much for all you do. Folks, our special event will start shortly. However, we do have some BCD business that we need to do. And first up is our legislative chairman, Rod Miller. Rod also is a founding father. Now, Rod, where's Linda? Oh, she has a stopwatch. 4 minutes, that's it.
That 4 milliminutes, that makes it 15. Okay. Hey, I was 7 minutes on the schedule. What do you mean 4? Squeeze me. Okay, I'm here for 2 things. First of all, tonight is the 5th anniversary of the Berks County Patriots. We started back in October of 2009, and I'm going to do a real thumbnail sketch to show what we've attempted to do over 5 years. We are a twofold operation. On one hand, it's education, and the other hand, it's action. And my first part I want to discuss is what have we done to try to educate people and where we're heading in this country as a constitutional republic, and what can we do to retain that mantra. And therefore, just to give you an idea how this thing got started. In fact, it was August of '09, it was 4 or 5 of us sat around one day and said that we need to do something. This is not shaping up too well. And Ray Monster, if he's here, I was one, and Ray was one, and a couple other fellas, I don't see him here, but at that point we decided we got to get going. So we formed a group, and at that time it was called the Berks Tea Party, and we went to Washington for the Glenn Beck 912. Just after that, then we officially decided, with some differences of opinion, of where we ought to go, but we then decided in October to have our own organization meeting, and in October, effectively, we had our first meeting for what is known as the Berks County Patriots. It was in November, we had a second meeting. Both of these were at River Edge, where in November, we then formed this with a name. We put a draft of bylaws together, mission statement, and we started with our interim board. We put together the interim board in October, actually. But from then on, here's where we went from an organization. Our first major meeting was January of 2010. That was our first public meeting. And I don't know how many were here in that public meeting, but we had 800 people in the building and another 102 outside. Was anybody here at that first one? There we have some. Okay, there's a few here, okay. They stuck with us for 5 years. Well, that was the beginning of the Patriots, effectively, and then we thought we really had something going. Following that meeting, we went into February and said, okay, now, what do we want to do to start educating people? And the first meeting we had with an invite with the speaker, we got R.J. Harris from the Harrisburg WHP. He was a talk show host there, and he gave a talk as if he was running for president. And well done, I might say. After that, we went to February, then March. In March, we had Katie Abrams and Bill Ryle. Bill Ryle spoke of the Constitution. Katie Abrams, if you remember, was the one that confronted Arlen Specter. And that was quite frequently on television, how she more or less shook her finger and said he woke a sleeping giant. March, April, then we had Peg Luxick. She spoke on Common Core. June, we had Sam Rohr, who was running for governor. July, we had a family preparedness seminar, and there we had Larry Pratt of Gun Owners of America, national figure, often on TV. In August, Frank Ryan came here and gave a talk called the Misery Index. Frank is a retired Marine colonel. Frank has all kinds of credentials, economically speaking, and that's what he does for a living. So, quite an authority on that subject. We kept moving along. By November, we had Nate Benefield from the Commonwealth Foundation. He spoke on the fiscal crisis, and again on constitutional government. December, we finally honored the vets the first time, and that's when our own Dave Hoffmaster was the speaker. Very emotional. Dave untimely passed away and sorely missed. Did an excellent job, a Vietnam veteran, and was our cameraman. So it was quite a void to fill. January, we had Anna Pugh, who spoke on coming to America legally to live the American dream. And we also had Simon Campbell then. Simon Campbell, he has organized and stopped teacher strikes. Since then, he's been involved in right to work and paycheck protection, etc. We then had an immigration forum, February. Sam Rohr emceed that, and Lou Barletta was on that panel, now a congressman. We then have a second family preparedness night back in May of 2011. I'm going to put this here so I can page. Okay. We had a War on Poverty seminar. Dave Hoffmaster, Dave Baldinger, tax elimination, and Bill Binn came from Pittsburgh, who wrote Masters of Audacity and Deceit, and he spoke on the housing and financial crisis that we're in, the progressive movement. July, we had Representative Gerlach to speak on the state of the nation, and he canceled on us, and he always canceled on us. That was just one of several. However, we did have Representative Cox to give a state of the state, and Christian Leinbach, our county commissioner, did a report on the county. August, we had Bill Ryle speak on nullification and what the 10th Amendment is all about, states' rights. September, we had how to seminar style smart sessions, and that was a seminar night. We had several people around the room. Again, Baldinger on property taxes, Katie Abram on social media, and a few others that night. October, we had Representative Darrell Metcalf who spoke on illegal aliens, voter ID, making English the official language. December, we honored the vets again. Moving on to March, the real cost of progressivism, where we had our own Charlie Gilbert and Graves Kleinsmith led that one, the federal impact that would be. And Ken Crystal spoke from a local standpoint. Then we had Severin Fairman in April of 2012. Fairman was the Auschwitz survivor. He's in his late 80s, and he spoke on what's right about capitalism. He was the founder of Baldwin Brass, if you didn't know that. Excellent talk. E.J. Kimball in June. He spoke on radical Islam, jihad, and the real war being waged in the United States. We had welfare fraud, and there we have Judy Schwank, Representative Calderon, and Joe Pitts. An excellent forum then. And we went to illegal immigration, again presented by Craig Kleinsmith, but we had the Berks County Sheriff, Eric Weekneck, we had Dave Argill and Mike Fulmer, and we had Mark Gillen of the House. Tribute to the Patriots in November. December, we had, again, Frank Ryan was our guest speaker. Trying to move ahead here. Jim Cox came along with the report from the state. Project Appleseed, representing Steve Bloom on right to work and loss of religious freedom. Another family prepared two. Then we had a super town hall, and then we had a wall. We had reps and senators lined up here. They all made it. Dave Argyle, Jerry Knowles, McKenzie, Rozzi, Calderon, Cox, and Rafferty. So as you can see, we're nonpartisan there again, which is what we profess to be, but we let all points of view have an opportunity to speak. That was followed the next month by Peg Lipsy on Common Core. Excuse me. Then we had Charles Blyer in November. Another tribute to the veterans, that December again. Christmas party. Then we went into 2013, we had Larry Pratt, Gun Owners of America, and the Second Amendment. Then we had candidate night where we had, this previous one, we had all the judicial candidates. Then we had a debate with the John Birch Society and the Citizens for Self-Governance on the Constitutional Convention. August meeting, we had a legislative rally, and we had a special report from Mark Scott, again on illegal immigration, and what it was going to cost Berks County. And finally, in September, we had Dr. Jim Prasad, who wrote a book on Ronald Reagan, and the title was, you know, What Would Ronald Reagan Do Today? So, and we finally had a candidate night. That was an example going through real quickly. Over 5 years, you can see we've covered just about every possible aspect of educating the public on this government. And certainly, for those that attended many of those meetings, they'll have an excellent cross view of what we try to do in education. Okay, what did we do from an activity standpoint or an activist standpoint? How's my time? From an activist standpoint, going quickly, Glenn Beck, we went down to Washington with Glenn Beck 912. We went down again on the health care with Michelle Bachmann. We had an Obamacare rally on March 2010. August, we went again, Glenn Beck restoring honor. So we take the buses to Washington several times over. We also went down to American Springs, went down, and also and then Harrisburg many times. We went up to the HB 1776 rally, and then we carried property tax petitions. HB 76 filibuster we went up. Right to work resolutions we delivered to the House members. Matter of fact, then I testified before the House Labor. We were the only Tea Party represented in Harrisburg, so that was a plus for us. We went up again, we delivered paycheck protection petitions, many of you both signed. Beyond that, we were at a anti-Spectre rally in the rain, I remember that one. We spent three April 15th in front of the Gus Yadler post office before they went elsewhere on protesting property tax or income tax. Let's leave it go at that. The only other point there, we also went up to the state Republican State Committee meeting, and Jim Philbin and I were thrown out because that's the year they endorsed Corbett, and we were up there to support Sam Rohrer. So we only had signs that says we don't support endorsements. However, they threw us out. But the ironic thing of it is, the very next day, Ed Bender and I had written an article a week or two previous. And the front page of the editorial was time for tea with a big tea party kettle, and the article with Ed and my picture on the front. And that was the morning after the state party had their meeting. In effect, we we got even, because the next day, we were the newspaper. The only other thing I wanted to mention, and I have to go, is the effort that we all did on the Paligi episode, where Paligi, Senate President, was not supporting our issues, property tax, pension reform, and those matters. And I put a letter to the editor in. That was also at the same time Senator Scott Wagner put a letter out. We then put a letter out to everybody that says call your senators and let's get Paligi out because he's not doing his job. The short story is Paligi's out. We did our job. I apologize, but that's the way it goes.
How many minutes do you think that was? That was 16 minutes. Hold on. Folks, today is a very special day for Rod. You know what today is? You know what today is?
Yeah.
That's a good start. Folks, today is Rod's birthday. On the count of three, let's say happy birthday, Rod, okay? Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, Rod!
Whoops. You know what? That was very, very good. But at Rod's age, his hearing is not as good as it used to be. So let's do it one more time, just a little bit louder. Will you please? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Rod!
Sorry, folks. Up next, Bruce.
Where's Eldon?
That's fine. We'll get him.
Eldon?
Eldon, you in the house? Eldon? Okay. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ron. Glad to see you all here tonight. I'm really excited tonight. We picked a great night to come out today because we're going to hear about this hero, United States hero, Navy man, Mr. Strange. But the reason I'm up here to do this brief commercial, Jay just informed me that our treasury is going low again. We have to pay lawyer bills, we have to pay the hall. So I'm asking you to be, again, as always, generous. And again, we're looking for sponsors. We have one of our former sponsors here, Gil Smith. Gil, are you back there somewhere? Gil? Gil? Oh, there you are, okay. Yeah, Gil sponsored us last month. Thanks again for that contribution, Gil. So we're looking for more contributions. If anybody has an employer or even a personal friend or a business that wants to be a sponsor, we can help you out here. So thanks again for coming out and looking for the next speaker. Okay, Alden has other duties, so we're going to bring up Linda Brancador. No relation to me, folks, just so you know. No relation. Just kidding.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you all for coming out on this cold night. I know a lot of you would rather be home and snuggling up and on your soft chair watching TV, but I'm so glad that you came out tonight. It's going to be a great movie. How many of you here are here for the first time? Raise your hand. Welcome. That's great. Thank you. If you'd like to join us, the membership table back there, all you have to do is fill out a form and give us your email address. There is no cost and no obligations. So we'll give you a membership packet in the back that has a lot of good information in it for you. All right, now next month is our Christmas party and honoring Veterans Night, and it's a week early, folks, so make sure you mark your calendar. It's the second Thursday instead of the third Thursday, so it's December 11th. We will have our Christmas party and a tribute to veterans, so if you would bring wrap gifts for kids, mark if it's a boy or a girl and the age group. And we're also collecting the canned goods, non-perishables, for the veterans, and these all go to our local veterans. And also, Any of the food that you bring next month, the leftovers will also go to the veterans. We have somebody that takes them right into some of the shelters where they stay. So Doug Grable, he's here, he handles the distribution, so he's a great guy. Thank you so much, Doug. Also, at our meeting in December, some of the legislators will be here, and you'll be able to talk with them face to face. But remember, it's the Christmas season, so you must be nice, okay? Okay, I thank all of you that brought all these coats and supplies and things for the veterans. I thank every one of you for doing that. They really need this stuff. It's wonderful. Thank you all. Now I'm going to do some upcoming announcements. These announcements are usually done by Judy Pelka, but she broke her arm. Now, I know you all want to hear the arm stories again. I don't know what's going on, but we seem to have a run on broken arms. And they're all female. Started out with me, and I guess I gave too many kudos to Sam for helping me. So now everybody's breaking their arm because they want Sam to help put their socks on, button their buttons and stuff, but I don't allow that. I don't let him help out. So they're on their own. Okay. Now, this Saturday, November 22nd, that's Saturday, we're having Shattering America's Trance. It's a seminar on how to speak about the top issues, how to convince public officials to listen and create arguments that compel people to unite and act. It's 8:30 a.m. on Saturday morning to 3 p.m. It's at Wegmans Restaurant. It's a Berks Tea Party event. There's flyers back on my table for more information. And Helen McMinn, are you here, Helen? She's in the back there. She can answer any questions also. This seminar also could help you speak to the legislators at the December meeting. No, sorry, you might want to come. Okay, then on Sunday, the 23rd, is the Sheriff Brigade meeting. Attorney Joshua Prince will be speaking on the legal issues involving the Eric Frame manhunt. You remember all that up in the Poconos? That's also at Wegmans at 6 o'clock. Some say there were constitutional issues involved. Joshua will explain these. He's a lawyer in the area. Next is Constitution classes for December. It's December 3rd at 6 o'clock. And December 8th at 3 and 6, also held at Wegmans. December 5th is the Lehigh Valley Tea Party, America's Future Energy Policy, Poverty or Prosperity with Dr. John Felmy of the American Petroleum Institute. Then further in December, the 10th, is Dean Klopp's Citizens for Liberty. He's having Scott Wagner at his meeting. We all know who Scott Wagner is. You don't want to miss that. He's a senator and a really good guy. Also, Dean has a table in the back where he's asking people to sign petitions for 76. So if you'd like to go back and sign a petition for Dean, please do that. December 15th is Eyes on Pennsylvania. I don't really know. I don't have any of their information. But December 16th is Lebanon 912, Jim Rodkey's group. He's in Lebanon. He's having a speaker, Jeff Griffith of the Constitutional Organization of Liberty. That's COOL, C-O-O-L. And he will be following up on the meeting that they just had in November about the restoration of America starting at the local level. Very interesting presentation. That's all I have. Good night, folks.
Again, my name is Jamie Kyle, and I'm helping coordinate a really fascinating meeting that is going to be available to all of you. It's going to be with Alan West. We just finalized the arrangements. He will be coming here to Reading. He will be at the Inn at Reading in January, on January 10th that evening. It will be an ROTC benefit, so there will be a cost involved. The initial tickets are $75 for the presentation that he will be giving. And if you want to go to a meet and greet to meet him specifically, there would be an additional $50 charge. I'm going to be putting that information out in an email out to all of you, and I will also be putting it up on the website. So it's a fascinating and wonderful opportunity for us. We're really excited about it. And we're hoping that many of you that are here this evening will consider coming. So thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Folks, at this time, I'd like to direct your attention towards the rear. The men that are forming back there, in the back, are with Oath Keepers of America. Most of them are from the eastern Pennsylvania area. They're going to form an honor guard to escort our guests, Charles and Mary Ann Strange, to the stage. Andy, please proceed, and Mr. and Mrs. Charles Strange, please fall in as requested.
Oath Keepers, Lieutenant Hook! Oath Keepers, forward march!
Folks, now approaching the stage, 2 by 2, with the Oath Keepers Honor Guard. Okay, let's start that again. And now approaching the stage, 2 by 2, with the Oath Keepers Honor Guard, are Mr. Brett White, veteran, U.S. Air Force. Mr. Kevin McTish, veteran, U.S. Marine Corps. Berks County Patriots honored guests, Mr. and Mrs. Charles Strange, followed by Mr. Andy Palafino, PLC Berks Oath Keepers, and missing man, Navy SEAL Petty Officer Michael Strange.
Oath Keepers, parade, rest.
Thank you, Oath Keepers of America. Folks, let's welcome Charles and Mary Ann Strange. Charles and Mary Ann, on behalf of the Berks County Patriots, it's an honor to have both of you here this evening. I heard your story twice before, and I'm eager to hear it again. This is a story that needs to be told over and over. And hopefully, just hopefully, we will have a congressional investigation. Would you like to be seated for a moment? Folks, next up is Brett White and Kevin McTish. Brett is with the Central Pennsylvania Direction of Oath Keepers, and Kevin is with the Berks Oath Keepers. Brett and Kevin have something they would like to say to Charles and Mary Ann.
Oath Keepers, Lieutenant Hook!
Okay, thank you. We actually have a couple different things for you this evening on behalf of Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers of the United States and Oath Keepers of Pennsylvania. I'd like to read this one to you. Guardian of the Republic Award. Presented to Charles and Mary Ann Strange. We, the Oath Keepers of Pennsylvania, in light of your unwavering support of the most basic of constitutional and human rights, in pursuit of the truth behind your son's death, commend and honor your diligence in the face of a government that refuses to allow you the courtesy of that truth. We applaud your tenacity and courage in the face of those who would deny us all the right to simply know the truth. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us while grieving for a lost son. Stuart Rhodes, President of Oath Keepers. This is a commemorative picture I'm seeing for the first time myself. Let's walk over to them. And these are the 30 soldiers, along with the K9 BART that went down on that perilous day, and when the helicopter August 2011. Extortion 17, thank you. Draw a blank. Okay, so hopefully you guys have a way to take that home, and it's
Oath keepers, dismissed.
Up next is Dan Gray. Dan will introduce Charles and Mary Ann Strange. If I read Dan's bio, it would be over 5 minutes. There's a lot to this man. However, I'm only going to read about a minute. Sorry, Dan. As a Reformed progressive, he brings special insight and understanding to our struggle to regain liberty. He sued the SEIU in federal court and won, costing them well over $1 million per case. Dan actively supports numerous pro-life and Second Amendment organizations. He was assistant to Colonel Henry Riley at last summer's Operation American Spring in Washington, D.C. He also works with many local militia groups. Despite the loss of his column in the Washington Times, Dan continues to ghostwrite for many Patriot leaders and political candidates. He also appears regularly on Patriot journalist radio programs, helping vet candidates and expose corruption. Folks, it's my honor. Let's welcome Dan Gray.
Great to see all of you. I am your neighbor. Like all of you, I've been working real hard. If you're not exhausted yet, that's good, but you will be. You'll have to get your second win and your third win. But some of us don't fight until we lose something. Charlie's son, Michael, was a fighter. He'll tell you the story. It's a story that you wouldn't have believed 10 years ago. But 5 years ago, you would have said, no, it's not likely. But this year, after all that we've heard, it's true. And you'll have no problem understanding it because it's like so many other stories that we're hearing. Outrageous. They want to overwhelm us with these stories, but we can't forget. We can't forget Extortion 17. We can't forget Benghazi. We can't forget Fast and Furious. We can't forget any of these scandals. We can't forget all the babies that are being murdered. We can't forget all the injustices that are being done in our name. Now, Charlie wasn't a fighter any more than I was a few years ago. He liked a nice quiet life, family. He's a fighter because he lost somebody dear to him. Now, I know Charlie, and he's like you. If you have a fireman or a policeman in your family or a soldier, and they give their life for their duty, it's a tragedy, and you can accept it because it's what they signed up to do. In fact, if you have a neighbor, a friend, a coworker, a family member who just stops to save somebody's life or try to in a car accident, and I know there's a lot of volunteer firefighters here tonight, and you would do that, and you have done that. Or who rushes into a burning house because some mom is yelling, "My kid's in there." You can accept if a person loses their life. But just like abortion goes after the least of us, the ones who can't protect themselves, just imagine, this was a SEAL team. They're the best of us. I don't care who's in this room or who's in this county or who's in this state. There isn't a handful in the entire state, warriors who are that supreme and excellent. These are guys that could do anything. And they did everything for us. And they could take out a SEAL team. Who's safe? None of us are safe. But we can be safe if we follow a simple course. Hold their feet to the fire. We will have a congressional hearing. There is a court case Charlie will tell you about. We're winning. And if we stick together and we grow, this hall is filled. By this time next year, we're going to have a hall 10 times this size filled. And we're going to have more younger people too, because they were raised with lies and they know it, and they're looking for older folks who know the truth, who tell it to them simply, who tell it straight. And that's us. We learned it from our parents and our grandparents. Quite frankly, baby boomers, we let America down because things were too easy. And because we were doing too well, and 10 years ago we couldn't believe this stuff. 20 years ago, you had to be a crazy person to even think this stuff. This year, we all know it's true. So, without further ado, Charles and Mary Ann Strange, Gold Star parents, fighters for liberty, and it's a cause that I personally believe in. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that, buddy. Love seeing you down Washington. I think we could make it over the fence. I know when the Secret Service guys were grabbing me, I grabbed, what's his name, Barack Hussein Obama. I said, Michael changed the way America lived. I grabbed Obama like a rag. I said, I don't need to know about my son. I know about my son. I need to know what that happened here. He's shaking like this, and Secret Service guys grabbed me. And they felt like they were going to let me go there. I would have knocked them out. And some. But I was double over crying, and he came up to me again. I had snot coming down on my nose. Wanted to give me a hug, and I wiped a big thing of snot over his face. I had to get rid of it. And I whispered in his ear. I said, is there going to be a congressional inquiry? He whispered in my ear, and I could feel his lips touching my ears. I watched him. And he said, Mr. Strange, we're going to look into this very, very, very deep. That was August 2011 in Dover, in a hangar. And then about 15 minutes later, Leon the Snake Panetta came up to me and he said, I'm going to ask the same questions. I said, you're going to ask the same questions? You're the Secretary of Defense. You're going to, I'm a laborer. I put up scaffolding and use a torch. You're going to ask the same questions I'm asking? and a few F notes came out, and a couple other fathers started shooting in, and that's when they asked me to leave for a little bit, get a cigarette and a glass of water there. Mr. Strange, you got to come outside. We're from Northeast Philadelphia. Michael went to North Catholic. He was my oldest son. The Oath Keeper started off with this. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I haven't, you know. Michael was my oldest son, and he was the kid everybody wanted to be around. Michael always stuck up for the underdog. Kid came up to me, Rob, and he went to North Catholic, pretty tough neighborhood down there in Philadelphia. Tars down in Erie. And, these kids were picking on Rob. And Michael, you know, in high school, Michael wasn't that big. He was wiry. And Michael, they would take Rob's school bag and throw it. And Michael said, anybody that messes with Rob one more time, that's it, man. You're going at it with me. And got in a little fight with a couple of the Kingston kids. And Rob's telling me the story like 2 months after Michael passed. And he says, nobody ever messed with me after Michael told him. And then he goes, Michael took me to Cancun with him for senior week. I said, did anybody get locked up? He goes, Michael almost did. I said, streaking? He goes, yeah, how'd you know? Michael liked to drink Jameson's, get naked. We're in Arlington, and 17 of the men are there that died with my son. And I was talking about Michael getting naked, and another guy came over. He goes, I was turkey hunting with my brother, and we took a break. I was leaning against a tree, and I look over, and Jesse was leaning against a tree. He was naked. Then one of the wives comes up, and she goes, 4 o'clock in the morning, I look out in the pool, and he's out there swimming naked. And one of the other wives came over, and she goes, they weren't SEAL Team 6, they were grade 6. I don't know if Bin Laden's dead. I don't know if Bin Laden's still alive. I know my son called me before the raid, told me he wasn't going to talk to me. Phones off, cell phones off, no texting, no emails. I love you, Dad. I said, what's going on, Mike? He said, you'll hear about it. And that was in May. That was in April. He called me, and May 1st was whatever happened over there. I know that there's only like 3 people alive that were at that raid. The book Fearless, Adam Brown, that was one of my son's friends. Everybody in the book's dead. Look in the back, everybody's name there is dead. No easy day. I'm not sure about that, but I'm almost sure that everyone in the names in the back, they're all dead. I know O'Neill came out and said he shot Bin Laden, and I did watch the interview, and the guy said, so the last face you seen, that Bin Laden seen, was yours. And he said, I guess. But let me tell you something. I shoot somebody in the face twice, I don't think he's looking at nobody else. Something's wrong. I was just talking to a friend of mine who lost his son from down in Florida today. And he has a couple questions too, you know. Coincidence, coincidence, coincidence. They say, you know, everybody's dead, my son's dead, you know. He comes home after May, he comes home in June, his birthday's June 6th. And he comes over our apartment, and comes over with his brother and 2 girls, and they hang out for a little bit. Then he goes up to the bar, calls me up, he says, yo, Dad, you want to come up? I go up, I'm buying him shots of Jameson's. Not that I wanted to see him naked. And I go outside and smoke a cigarette. He tells me what it's doing to my lungs. You know what that's doing to your lungs, Dad? Shut up, Michael. Then he said, give me a cigarette. Here you go, Michael. I said, you killed Bin Laden? He went. He wouldn't answer. Michael kept everything close to the vest. But he did, that was the first time he grabbed me by the arm, and he said, Dad, I got a will. I said, what? He said, Dad, I ain't fucking around, listen. And excuse me if I offend anybody, I use the F word. He said this about a will. Saturday the next day was his birthday, June 6th. We had a big party for him over his friend's house, 2 kegs of beer, a lot of Jameson, Jack Daniels, 50 of his buddies. Hung out there for a little bit and grabbed me again by the arm. Talk about this will. What's going on, Michael? What's going on? Dad, something's going on, da-da-da-da-da. Stops back over to the apartment and he grabs him by the bicep and says, listen, you won't believe what's going on in this country, Dad. I said, what? He said, Michael was a cryptologist. He was a code breaker. He graduated boot camp in '04. They sent him to Pensacola, Florida. He graduated first in his class. There was a kid in there 4 years older than Michael that did 4 years of college. Cryptologists, they don't take notes. There's no notes in the classroom. Can't be colorblind to be a cryptologist. And the kid that went to the 4 years of college and was 4 years older than Michael said, I cannot believe he beat me in the test. He said he learned trigonometry, algebra, and came out first in the class. Michael was very, very intelligent. We always knew Michael was smart. We didn't know he was that smart. In school, we just coasted by. I'd yell at him for not bringing books home, and he's like, Dad, I'm passing everything, you know. And he worked. He went to the gym. Here's the big brother that my my other kids are, they're screwed up. It's weird. It's every day. Every day you think your son. Anybody lost a son or daughter, whether it was in war, car accident, or whatever, you know. And so Michael, they sent him to Hawaii, SEAL Team 2, McCraven. He becomes an E6 in less than 4 years. Anybody who's in the military, E6 in less than 4 years is unheard of. He was training, running. You can look up Michael Strange CrossFit. I went to the gym with him once. He jogged home. I crawled home. I couldn't walk for 2 days. He was with McCraven now out there in Hawaii, and he was only there, I think about 18 months. I spent like 15 days with him in Hawaii. I loved Hawaii, and met all his buddies, and they sent him right over to Dev Group. Bought a house, SEAL Team bought a house down there, their special base. You can ask Joe Biden or Leon Panetta where it is and the address, they'll tell you. Or Barack Hussein Obama. You never heard of SEAL Team 6 until the Bin Laden raid, you know? So he's down the Dev Group, and he's taken off. He's working with the SEALs. He becomes a team leader for Tier 1 group, SEAL Team 6 Gold. He grew a beard. This is Michael's stepmother. His mother was Sicilian, and he could never grow a beard. That's that beard ain't right, Michael. The training, he was 2% body fat. The things he did was, he protected this country. He did things, I called him my James Bond guy. So he leaves in June after telling me about, you wouldn't believe what's going on in this country. Talking about a will. Stops in Aunt Maggie's house, tells her about the will. Calls me from the airport. I still got his message on the phone. I love you, Dad. I'll see you for Thanksgiving. I haven't had Thanksgiving since. August 6th, my daughter calls me and tells me my son was killed. My ex-wife lives about 10 blocks away. My wife came running home. The scream was unbearable. The pain is still unbearable some days. Nobody knows what happens. The guys who were there, there was a lot of military people there for us, and they didn't say nothing. We actually found out on the TV. It was on the TV about the Chinook helicopter. It was the biggest loss of life in the Iraq and Afghan war, 30 guys. And it was the biggest loss of life in the history of America, 22 guys from Dev Group. You know, 30 men. Did a big thing in Philadelphia at the cathedral down there, and October 2011, they all invited all the parents down to an auditorium with 2 screens. A guy named General Jeffrey Colt does the investigation over in Afghanistan. Bring him dear Jeffrey Colt, who got promoted after he did this investigation. Sort of somewhat like the Pat Tillman, the guy that did the Pat Tillman story and the bullshit they fed them poor parents, who my wife's been in touch with. He got promoted too. We're in this auditorium, and we're all sitting in like a theater, and all the bigwigs are there, all the bigwigs, and I raised my hand. I said, "Can I have an after-action report?" Looks at me, the bigwigs go, "It's in the book." Going on about da-da-da-da-da. I said, "What happened to the black box, which is really orange?" General Colt goes, "A flash flood came and washed it away." If you Google August 6, 2011, my son was killed in the Tangine Valley. There was no rain there for months. Months. And you can Google all kinds of different Googles, and no rain. No flash flood. A little wadi there, you know. So we asked a few more questions, and they said the Chinook was coming in. There was 2 buildings right here. It was pitch dark. Pitch dark. And they made a call and for the landing, and it was a 3-minute call. And then there was nothing for 13 minutes. And somebody said, "What? Nobody's watching SEAL Team 6? Gold? Our best." This ain't my words. They said they weren't the best of the best. They were our best. Protect this country. Michael did shit in this country that, you know, with all these jihadis coming around here in this country, I'm sure you people here know. And so they kept telling us it's in a book. It's in a book. And General Colt says it was an RPG shot, 200 yards in the pitch dark. It was a lucky shot. I said, "Did that motherfucker just say lucky shot and all our sons are dead?" Sorry for language. You know, they told me this, my son, it was a lucky shot, 200 yards in the pitch dark. And I said to the guy, I stood up, I said, "So what you're telling me is that it's like standing on top of the Empire State Building with a quarter and dropping it in a coffee cup." And he went like this. "Yes." You gotta be kidding me. So we get home, they give us this book with the disc. And one of the parents said they weren't supposed to give us the disc. And I don't look at it. I didn't look at it right. I'm out of my head, and I finally opened up the book. It's like this, and I'm looking. There's no ink. There's no toner. You can't read it. There's nothing. You can't read it. There's nothing in the book. I call up Admiral Sean Pybus, Commander-in-Chief of CENTCOM. I said, "Sean," I said, "I can't read this. There's no ink." "Oh, Charlie, we got a lot of complaints about that." I said, "All right, send me another one." He said, "We can't. We burned it." Now, you're going to tell me how great my son is, and he did this, he did that, they just gave him another medal. You know, this is the small shadow box. He's got medals. I don't want no more medals. I want to know what happened to my son is what I want to know. So it don't happen to somebody else's son or daughter. You know? So they give us this disc and put the disc in, and my wife here will tell you how she figured out the disc with the 1,364 pages. One of the parents called us. They were going to ask for the disc back. And it was sort of like a maze.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming out. You know, everybody here tonight is part of the solution. You know, the ones that are keeping their eyes closed are part of the problem still, and hopefully this group continues to get bigger, and you know, we just need to stick together. We want to thank you all for coming out and supporting us. So with the disc, what my husband was trying to explain was what they gave us at the debriefing from the investigation. Brigadier General Jeffrey Cole. It was a 2-pocket folder. On one side was a booklet, and it was the investigation findings. It was probably about 35 or 40 pages. And on the opposite side was a disc. Now, there was no toner in the printer that printed out the investigation findings, and every single parent got a copy that could not be could not be read. You couldn't read anything. It was, and I mean, come on, I know the government's like broke, but come on now. Are you really going to hand this to all these people who just lost their sons? Like, you know, what a slap in the face. So the disc was, you know, my husband's like, what are we going to do? And then I remembered the disc. And I popped it in, and you know, it was a bunch of little blocks. It was like a maze, really, to try to, it was like a sequence, you know, you press this here once, over here, and it was like, this is what, yeah, and then that would open up another page, and then you'd have to be less blocks, and you'd have to go through it again and try to figure it out. It took a while, but we figured it out, and when we did, it was 1,364 pages. And when we read this, we didn't sleep for weeks. You know, the information that was in there, it said it was an ambush. Okay? You know, I have here just a timeline on what I just want to run it down real quick. In April, Michael came home, and our Michael called and said you know, we won't be able to contact him. Don't worry, you'll know why you can't contact me. May 1st was the OBL raid. May 3rd is Vice President Joe Biden at the Ritz-Carlton in a tuxedo with half a load on, decides to say that it was SEAL Team 6 and who the commander was, and blah, 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 blah. And that's treason in my eyes. Before that day, and nobody about Snowden? Are you kidding me? Thank God for him. You know? But, you know, he divulges about SEAL Team 6 and who the commander was. Now, before that day, SEAL Team 6 was like the ghost team. You didn't know if they existed or if they didn't exist, or, you know, it was always that, it was like the NSA, no such agency, you know, our friends. And that's what SEAL Team 6 was. And then all of a sudden, you're going to come out and blast who it was, where they live, where they're stationed at, who the commander was. Are you freaking kidding me? You know, May 3rd, Leon the Snake Panetta, yeah, he told PBS that the decision to shoot bin Laden was all split decision action on the part of the SEALs. May 4th is when Secretary of Defense Robert Gates. Now, the guys from the team went to Gates and said, look, we feel like, you know, we're afraid. We're afraid for our families, your family, our teammates, and this country because of being put out there. We got a target on our backs. Do you think that the government decided to help any of the family members after they blabbed their mouths? We were getting threats from Al-Qaeda, from the Taliban, okay? But it didn't matter, you know? They just wanted the recognition on Pennsylvania Avenue. If you listen to his speech, you know, Barack Hussein Obama, it was an I, and I think it was 43 times, I believe, is when he said I. Never once thanking the special operations force that did what they did during that raid, okay? And, you know, so Secretary Gates even turned around and said, you know, the night of the raid in the Situation Room, it was agreed upon that nobody would say anything about who it was. Well, you know, our wonderful president couldn't wait to get out there and say something, but of course he took the credit for it. Yeah, like he's got the guts to get out there. Right? You know, and then June 24th, Leon the Snake Panetta, yet again, in front of 1,500 people, talked about SEAL Team 6. And these were people, these were Hollywood producers, because these are the people from Zero Dark 30 who were also had access to classified information. Treason, but yet again. You know, and then August 5th or August 6th was when Michael and all them boys got killed. And for why? Because the people running this country right now just couldn't wait to get it out there and take the credit for it. So our boys were killed. You know, in the 1,364 pages, there's a whole lot of information. How the standard operating procedures, none of them were followed. Our boys had absolutely no escorts out of the base, off the base that night. Okay, there was 2 Chinooks. Okay, that Chinook was built in 1960 and refurbished in 1985. It was a Chinook. It was a CH-47 Delta model. Okay, and they usually flew in the Black Hawks, and the SEALs are known that no more than 8 do a mission, and that's pushing it. Okay, because they can take on a couple hundred, just a handful of them. You know, they were the best. And when our guys were being between the 3-minute and the 1-minute call was a 13-minute lapse. Okay, do you think anybody that was like on the other end directing this or listening? Do you think that they would have taken notice that 13 minutes had lapsed when it was supposed to be 2? In our paperwork, this is what it says. The 7 Afghans that were switched out at the last minute, there was never any questions from Brigadier General Jeffrey Colt asking why. Doesn't say it in our paperwork. Not one time did he question why they were switched out or why they got off and refused to get back on again. And to this day, I often wonder, are the 7 that got off that day, are they still running with our special operations over there? Probably. Probably. Them Afghans, the Afghan National Army, none of them are vetted. Not one. Yet, they have all of our information on every one of our special operators. They have their complete file from boot camp on to the present. Is there something wrong with this picture? I think so. The Tangi Valley, where they put the boys in, is known as the Taliban stronghold. They dropped our boys on a HLZ, a hot landing zone, that was never used before. And it was a 3.5-hour gun battle going on. And they put them right in the middle of it. Why would you do that? For our best in the world? Why would they lie to America and say that it was a rescue operation to help the Rangers? In our paperwork, over and over and over again, the Rangers said, we didn't need any help. We were fine. We had everything under control. Why lie? Why lie if you have nothing to hide? Right? You know, it's just amazing that the stuff that goes on. The eyes in the sky, there were 3 eyes in the sky. At the very minute of Extortion 17 getting hit, all 3 of them went out. Huh. Wow, what a shock. Imagine that. No eyes were on Extortion 17. If anybody has a dictionary at home, so I'm a little bit OCD, and I decided that the definition of extort is to take something by force. Well, I looked that up. Then I looked up 7. In my Webster's dictionary at home, right above 7 is set up. Right below 7 is sever. Isn't that amazing? They were set up. I know these boys were set up. There was not one thing planned. Like, it was so rushed. It says it in our paperwork. And General Colt said a couple times, wasn't there a red flag that went up? Didn't a red flag go up? You know, they're talking about, General Colt asks, what's your assessment of the Tangi Valley? The guy answers, well, sir, May 11th, 2011, that's 10 days after Bin Laden raid. Huh? No, 2011. Yeah, May 11th, 2011, there was chatter that 100 Taliban were coming from the blank Providence to the Tangi Valley to shoot down the coalition force aircraft. So they knew. They knew. This was pre-planned, this was pre-set up, and it had to come from up above. It says in the paperwork about their hands were tied from up above. How far up above were their hands tied from? There were no eyes on Extortion 17. They said them boys were killed. The G forces killed them all. That Chinook was 50 to 100 feet off the ground at 58 miles an hour. I'm sorry, but these men were in prime condition. G-forces, I've talked to tons of pilots. Believe me, I've done my homework. We have researched this and researched it and talked to people in and out of the military. They said there's no way G-forces could have killed them. That two Pentagon spokespersons said that they were all burnt. Now this is all over the paper. There was only 38 C-spines and skulls were all that left, that were all that remained on the site. No identifiable remains. When we asked for Michael's, his autopsy report, a whistleblower sent us the pictures. You could see the hair on Michael's arms. That's how not burned he was. And yet they cremated him. They cremated him. Michael didn't want to be cremated. We're Irish Catholic. We have open caskets. Nowhere in his will did it say he wished to be cremated. But they cremated him. They denied my husband that one last goodbye to his son. And I'm very angry. They have just, they changed the whole dynamic of our family. They just, and yet they continue to lie to us and spit in our faces time and time again. Lie after lie after lie. We just recently were at the Pentagon. Now I made 4 copies of stuff, of questions. There were 4 bigwigs there. One is Gary Reed. When you get home, Google his name. He's right below Chuck Hagel, the Muslim. Yeah, call him too. Call Gary Reed. Tell him we want a congressional hearing. Chuck Hagel, our Secretary of Defense, he's a converted Muslim as well. This guy is right below Chuck Hagel. His name is Gary Reed. Mr. Gary Reed, all 4 of the bigwigs lost the questions that I had typed out for them. All 4 of them. Complete morons? Yeah, I think so. But see, my husband had to walk out of the room that night for a couple minutes and compose himself. And when he came back in, I was across the table with my finger in his nose, screaming in his face, and he's like, all right, Mayor, your turn to take a break. You know, but we need your help. We need your help, please. We need a congressional hearing on this. We need support. Google my husband's name, Charles Strange. Please. Anything you can do to help us, we appreciate. Gary Reed, or call your local congressman, state senator. Tell me you want a congressional hearing for Extortion 17. Please. Thank you all again for coming in.
Another fireball right there. When she figured out on that disc, they get to 1,364 pages, I went on a weekend retreat called Vet's Journey Home. It used to be called the Bamboo Bridge for Vietnam vets only down in Elkton, Maryland. And a guy invited me down there, a guy named Gene McMahon. And it was a bunch of guys from Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, and we go down to, I go down to Elkton, Maryland for this weekend, and it was beautiful, very helpful. That's how we started the Michael Strange Foundation. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But while I'm down there, I meet this guy named Dave Stiller, Navy guy. And he just mentioned that he works on computers. And we all change numbers down there, and I come home and our computer's haywire. Can't get it to work. So I call this, let me call this guy. I just met him on a weekend. I call him up, and he's from down south, and he says, Charlie, okay, let me do. And he's trying to fix it from his house. Here the guy works for the biggest computer company in the world. He's one of the best in the world. I think he's ranked 129th in security on computers. As you can tell, I'm not a computer person in the world. So he says, you got to bring it down. So we drive down south with the computer. He puts it on the table. He's sitting at it. He takes the computer up. He goes, oh my God, Charlie, what they got in here, it didn't even come out yet. And he tracks it. It's 8numbers.gov, 12 numbers, that place over there in Maryland. I think they call it the CIA, which now you're all involved with since you talked to Mr. and Mrs. Strange. You've been on the list. Now you just got moved up a little bit. Believe me. So this guy Dave, he documents everything he finds in the computer that the government put in there. And our friend Larry Klayman, our attorney, the only lawyer to sue a president and win, he sued Bill Clinton and won. And Larry also is from Philadelphia, Upper Marion High School. He lives out in Beverly Hills, does a lot of stuff in Washington. And Larry does have a sense of humor. He subpoenaed Bill Clinton's penis. That's the truth. He represented 8 of Bill Clinton's girlfriends. And he's been helping us. I mean, we've been to Washington, D.C. Larry's been there every time. Every time, banging on the doors with us, helping us, trying to get answers. filing things against Karzai, the Afghan administration, and when I told him about this computer and my phone, I kept getting these things on my phone, 000, 001, 5505. I called up Verizon, I said, what's this on my phone? Because I would text back and nothing would come back. And they said, you don't know what that is? I said, no, I don't know what that is. Somebody's listening to you. Really? Well, all I know is that she figured out the 1,364 pages, and I want to know what happened to my son. Who set my son up? It wasn't luck that 25 Taliban are under the tree with RPGs, AK-47, motorcycles, night vision goggles, cell phones. It's all in the 1,364 pages. And then there's Taliban in the tower handing stuff out. We can't shoot them because of the rules of engagement because our Muslim president, you know what I'm saying? God forbid you do anything to hurt one of them. You know, all our sons are killed, the ones that are protecting us, right? Actually, the Admiral, when we were there, one of the other dads said, why don't you take them out with a drone? You've seen all of them. And Admiral Harwood stands up, right, while we're all there, and says to win the hearts and minds of the Afghan people. And all our sons are dead. You know where he is now, Admiral Harwood? He got promoted. He's in Washington, D.C. Look him up. Call that son up for us. Trying not to curse. But call him up, please. Ask him about Extortion 17. Ask him if he said he told the parents to win the hearts and minds. They didn't take all these Taliban out with a drone. You know? The computer, Dave files, Larry, you talk to Larry, right? He files this there's a class action lawsuit coming up, but he filed for just me and my wife. Larry was getting some text messages because he's talking to the strangers. And we go to court last November 17th in front of Judge Leon. And Obama and the NSA, they brought 14 lawyers in. 14 lawyers. And the head lawyer at that time was Gilligan. My wife likes to say, he better go back to the island. And this is all on the computer, that the NSA don't spy on people. They don't spy on people. Larry said they're lying right to your face, right? They just fired 6 employees for spying on their spouses. It was in the newspaper. Gilligan put his head down, the rest of them put their head down. So he called it an Orwellian state. You know? So the cell phone, our computer. My wife is on the computer. We don't have a webcam. We don't have a camera on our computer, on our desktop. And she's sitting there ready to go. They took her picture. It was on Action News, NBC, all the Philly stations came up. Because the camera guys that put it on television said, do you mind if I look at your computer? Go ahead. They looked at the computer. They said, oh my God. They don't have a camcorder, and they took the picture right through the wires of her. FBI, you're going to prison. You know? You're going to jail for 20 years. That was one of the threats. They want us to stop asking questions. I said, you can't hurt me no more. You killed my son. You're not going. I'm from Philadelphia. You're not going to scare us. I grew up the apple don't fall far from the tree. The kid was, you know, you're not going to scare me. We were just filed last week, the first time I picked up on that. White pickup truck with New Jersey tags, tinted windows. First time I thought, I was like, nah. I was going down South Philly to see Nicky Luke. And I was like, man, this the guy still behind me. And then like 2 days later, it was the same truck, same guy. I tried to pull over the road, my wife and my friend Steve out there doing the camera. I said, this guy's still, it's the same guy. I pulled all the way over to the right. He flew by, he must be going 110 miles an hour. So, he wasn't buying coffee, he wasn't getting out of the car. We can get out of the car, you know. So we went to court 16 days ago in Washington, D.C. Superior Court, 3 judges. And we also had, Larry gave 5 minutes to the ACLU to get some people on the left, which I think is about time. And we also had
the EFF, the Electronics Frontier Foundation.
And we gave them 5 minutes. This time, Obama comes in with 16 lawyers, and this guy's up there talking about the mega data, and then he collects on everybody. It's on the computer. Everybody's cell phone here. They collect all your data. They know where you're at. They know when you go to the bathroom. They know when you're gambling. They know where you work. They know why you work. But to take it another step deeper, that's not all they know. They know your checking account. They know your credit cards. They know what you're doing on your computer. They know where you're going. They know what your wife's doing. Us? America? Is this America? No. That's not America. That's communist. Next thing you're going to be watching you through your TV. Judge Leon hitting on the nose in an Orwellian state. What is going on here in this country? We need everybody here. You're going to be seeing it. They're going to make a judgment in 2 months, probably another 60 days, and then we go to the Supreme Court. And that's another 9 months after that. But the 3 judges make their decision in 30 to 60 days, Larry said. And either, no matter what happens, it goes to the Supreme Court. If we win again, which I don't understand, you win 3 times in a row against the government. How many foul balls can they hit here? Ain't there a constitution in this country? Huh? How does son of a bitch get in here again? You know? This is disgrace. We need to get every group like this in America, what you guys are doing here. We need more dean cops in the back. Dean, raise your hand. Tom Powell, raise your hand. Oh, sneaky peek, Tommy. You know. Go to Larry Kleeman's. Everybody here, if you can, Larry Kleeman's Freedom Watch. .org, send him a note. What can we do to help? I know what I need. I need this all to call Congressman Bob Brady. Call Senator Mike Fitzpatrick. 2 of us, there's another guy from Pennsylvania that died with my son. From Pennsylvania. When we went to the Pentagon 5 months ago, and we met with Gary Reed, we weren't allowed to bring Larry Kleeman and no other parents. And we brought, like my wife was saying, we brought all our questions. How did the Taliban know? The Taliban bragged over the internet a half hour after my son got killed. We just killed SEAL Team 6. How did they know? Who's the leak? Who's running the show here? Who's the CIA? Who's in charge over there? So they're always involved. Let's start calling a spade here. My son gets killed. David Petraeus leaves 10 days later. Admiral Eric Olson gets switched out. The Craven makes a move. There's 12 moves that month with 4-star admirals and 3 and 4-star admirals and generals. That month. You know what they told me? Oh, that's when it was scheduled. Petraeus was supposed to be found out about having a girlfriend. And then he gets knocked out of the military to make him the head of the CIA. Then Benghazi happens after my son. 10 months later, there's no coincidence that poor Doherty and Woods over there was looking for man-pads, heat-seeking missiles, right? What do you think was an RPG to hit my son? No. In the dark? Man-pad maybe. It don't matter what was going on. They were going to kill everybody on that helicopter. Do I think it was Bin Laden? No, I don't think it was Bin Laden. Do I think my son was the one talking? I think him and a couple of his buddies were talking. Was it about the drugs coming into this country? Heroin comes in here. Before we went into Afghanistan, 10%. Now, it was on ABC, I was surprised. 95 or 96% of the heroin, and they know, comes from Afghanistan to our country. We don't have that many people on morphine. You know? The money, the drugs, follow the money. You know? These CIA agents, some of these characters, the switches, the game's the same, they're just changing the names. They showed their cards August 2011 after they killed my son. Something's wrong here. Somebody has to be held accountable. You know? With Larry, with the NSA and the government going into my computer, going into my phones, they've been in my apartment. We know they've been in our apartment. You know, when we've been out. You just know when you walk in your home and somebody's in your home, you know. You just feel it, you know. You know. For what? They want to know what my son told me. They want to know.
3256. Couldn't figure it out for the life of me. 73256 is seal 6. That's what was coming into my phone. Why? I couldn't figure it out for the life of me what the heck it was. I'm like, 73256, 73256. And look, I'm trying to figure it out. It took a while because of everything going on, but I figured it out. It spells SEAL 6. Why would I be getting that in my phone the same time he's getting these text messages? You know, and just the harassment that they do of like Senate Higo. Not too long ago, my husband got an email from Michael. An email. Was a few months ago? How long ago was that?
About a year after that.
Yeah, but then you received another one. You got 2 of them. Right, there was 2 of them. The other one, there was one about 10 months after Michael and the boys were killed. And then there was another one, probably, in fact, it was probably November of last year, I think it might have been. And it's from Mikey6686@yahoo.com. I'm in the bedroom, and all of a sudden I hear him screaming my name, Mary, and I'm like, what? And he just backs up, and we have our desktop. The screen is like flat screen monitor, and I look over and I say, and then it's up to me to tell him that, you know, that's not from Michael, really. You know that, right? You know what I mean? Because I guess that little glimmer of hope. And how dare they do that? You know, the head games that they play. And then they think we're going to sit down and you can kick us in the ass over and over and over again. Like we joke around, we say, we're from Philly, we fight back. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, there was a fellow I was outside talking to a little while ago. He was from Albany. And I told my husband was from Feltonville. They're neighboring neighbors, you know, and neighborhoods. But, you know, it's just wrong. It's wrong. Like when we went to court against the NSA, and Gilligan got up there, and he bombed. Oh, he was horrible, man. And
He was killed him the second time.
no, they didn't use him the second time. He had to sit in the second row too. It was bad. He started every sentence. Well, Your Honor, and I'm thinking my 5-year-old granddaughter could do a better job than that. Come on, man. You know, and I joke around, I say, he can go back to the island with the ginger professor because Mary Ann's going to stay here. You know, but with the NSA, like they sit there and the lies that they told, they said the metadata is only numbers, there's no phone, there's no names or addresses associated with it, da-da-da-da-da. And Larry Clayman turned around and said, well, if you hear a terrorist, how the hell are you going to find them? You know what I mean? Like, they were just, the lies that just spewed out. And Judge Leon, thank God, he has integrity, that man. he stood up for what's right and what's wrong in this country. You know, and let's just hope that the other ones have the same kind of integrity that he does, you know, because we need a change in this country. But here's my husband.
We're going to talk about 10 minutes about our foundation real quick, and then we'll take some questions. After my son was killed, I was out of my mind, and I went to that Elkins down in Maryland, and with Gene McMahon and them vets, and I said, I got a piece of my heart missing. I said, I cry every day. Go to the door. That was a few months after my son was killed. And so I get down there, we're in a big circle, and they pick on me first, and they says, come here, and they set the chairs out, and there's 2 rows of chairs. These people sit down, they put me on their lap, and they lay me back, and the rest of the people, they had some music playing, and the rest of the people start touching their heart, and then touching my heart, saying, here, Charlie, here's a piece of my heart. Here, Charlie, here's a piece of my heart. I'm like, oh, I'm crying, and they show me a picture of Michael. I got 1,000 pictures of Michael. They said, start talking to him. They had some stage playing. It was very helpful, and I said, man, we got to do this for the parents. But there's so many men and women coming home with PTSD. They said, we can't do nothing for the parents. And one of the therapists joined with us, and that's how we started the Michael Strange Foundation. We lost 289 in Pennsylvania. Iraq and Afghanistan war. We lost over 7,000 in the Iraq and Afghan war. So that's 7,000 men and women. That's 14,000 parents. That's 14,000 grandparents. So everybody has 3, 4 brothers and sisters. That's 28,000 brothers and sisters without their brother. Aunts and uncles. Everybody has 4 aunts and uncles. That's another 28,000. The list goes on and on and on for the Gold Star families. You see a Gold Star in the window, Gold Star license plate. I don't have a Gold Star pin on. That means they lost a loved one in the war, a son, daughter, husband, or a wife. We used Malvern for our first one. We had Christine Koch from North Jersey. Her son Stephen was a Marine, and her 25-year-old daughter kept saying, Mom, Stephen's coming home. Mom, what are you doing? He's going to come home. 18 months later, the daughter, graduate from Rutgers, beautiful, smart, never did drugs, writes a note, I'm going to go be with my brother, and took a handful of pills and killed herself. 2 children. Nobody hears about this. 2011, there was 108 Gold Star sisters committed suicide. It's 1.6 a week. A mom, dad, brother, or sister commits suicide. That lost somebody in Iraq and Afghanistan. You won't ever hear that. We just did a great weekend, October 9th to the 13th. 4 nights, 5 days in Wildwood, New Jersey, at the Bolero Hotel. Wally and Kathy Lira, who are Tea Party people. But great people. They donated a few floors, all the rooms. We had 22 Gold Star moms and dads come in for a weekend, paid for their airfare, their food, everything, gas cards, gift cards, because they already paid the ultimate sacrifice, losing a son. A lot of parents ain't working, or a lot of parents get addicted to Xanax, drinking, or they stay in. We have a couple parents that are, you know, don't leave the house after this. For me, what I do with my wife, we had these parents in Wildwood, New Jersey. They really rolled out the red carpet down there for us. Knights of Columbus had a dinner for us. Tons of vets were down there, motorcycles, fire engines. And we went down to the Knights of Columbus. The color guards were there. We had the dinner. We got back on our little bus, and me and my wife had reefs made, and the ocean's right across the street. And a reef is round like a circle, and a circle never ends, just like our love for our sons will never end. And I said a few words about Michael, and then each parent released a reef into the ocean and said a few words about their son. The release of trying to help. Then we went back to the Bolero, and They had the bar open and the DJ, one mother was dancing. She said, this is the first time I danced in 4 years since my son died. I said, well, you were a go-go dancer. She said, I wasn't a go-go dancer, I was a belly dancer. I said, you lived in Vegas. She's like, shh. You know, we all talk. I've talked that October 9th to the 13th, we had a conference call, touch base with each other, try to pick each other up. Our foundation's a 501c3. We're not big. We're no wounded warrior. We want to do 2 weekends next year for these parents. People are calling, asking about it. We sell the t-shirts in the back. It's such a need. It is such a need for the Gold Star community, man. You know, and my friend Tom's going to say a few words about our foundation, and then we'll take some questions.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Carroll, and I am on the Lehigh Valley 912 Tea Party board. And like Dan, I found out about this story, and I've heard their presentation several times now. I think 5, I think it is now. Every time I hear them tell this story, there's more to it. I'm learning something every time because it is such a complicated story, and there's so many pieces to this puzzle. But the bottom line is that not only are they courageous and standing up to ask for the truth, they're also doing something even better. They created this foundation for the purpose of helping the families, the grieving families of our fallen heroes and patriots. The weekends that they've described, I haven't been to them, but it's an amazing thing that they're doing, but they cost money. And what I have right here is just a real brief letter that the foundation chairman asked me to read to you tonight, so I'll just do that very quickly, and then I'll let you go ask your questions of Charlie and Mary Ann. Dear American Patriots, I want to thank each and every one of you for hosting Charlie and Mary this evening, and for all of your individual efforts and continued desire to protect this great country of ours. We have many challenges before us as a nation. You all have discussed many of them this evening, and I am sure very, very passionately. I am confident that we will come together and move this great country forward. I would like to leave you with this. The only reason we have the opportunity to assemble, as you are here this evening, and live as we Americans do, is because of the sacrifices, the debt of freedom paid for by countless American lives. The man who stands before you, Charles Strange, lives every day with deep wound of loss. His sacrifice, as well as all our Gold Star family losses, cannot be minimized or forgotten. Today, tens of thousands of Gold Star family members have little resources to deal with the loss of their loved one. The reality is many turn to drugs, alcohol, and suicide. How is it possible we can have this happen in this country? So I'd like you to do a couple things here now. And just keep in mind that they're here today with some merchandise in the back, some shirts, and also a donation bucket. There's a website that you can visit, the Michael Strange Foundation. It's michaelstrangefoundation.org. Again, that's michaelstrangefoundation.org. You can make a tax-deductible contribution or donation to the foundation online, and give them some money tonight if you can. Buy a shirt for them. So together, let's help Charlie honor his son by delivering some peace to these families, the families that they get together to help during these workshops. In closing, I ask God our Father to bless all of you, our leaders, all of our military, and all of our Gold Star family members. And that's from Michael Quinn, the chairman of the Michael Strange Foundation. Thank you very much.